Great. So today we're going to start with a little standing series using the mat as a kind of prop to help create a little instability for our standing posture, working through some different variations of just kind of rolling through the ankle and doing a little bit of breathing, essentially, to just kind of move our body and get us out of those bigger, grippier muscles and sort of into those deeper, more supportive muscles that keep us lifted, keep our bodies tall, and keep everything connected. So the setup is going to be a little bit different maybe for most. You're going to take your mat and you're going to just roll it all the way up. So just imagine you're cleaning up after your yoga class. You rolled up your mat all the way down, nice and tight, and we're going to just use this as a way to almost get our bodies to stretch down. Why not? So if we roll our mat, we're going to place it right in front of us. So we'll show you from the front view. So you'll start with the mat right here, and then you're going to stand up 1 foot at a time on it. It's going to get a little squishy. So this is sort of inspired by a Bosu standing series that I really like. However, if we don't have a Bosu or something to balance on, this is actually kind of a pretty great way to get some of the same feedback. So right away, you'll notice you sort of have to move a little bit, right, to not fall. So ideally, your toes are off the floor, your heels are off the floor, and you're gonna just let your arms drop down along your sides, okay? So in terms of alignment, you wanna think about your thigh bones being aligned right inside of the pelvis, right where they meet at the hip joint. So your hip joint's gonna be right about 2 inches inside of the pelvis. That's sort of like right where those sits bones and thigh bones meet at the joint. So just finding that alignment of the thigh bone center. Your knees will be parallel and your feet will be nice and flat. Okay, great. So from here, I want you to just think about breathing for a moment. We're going to start with the hands down along our side, palm space out. And we're going to take a nice deep inhale, filling up the body. And then we're going to exhale, feeling the body hug at the waist. Inhale, feel the body expand and almost get bigger and more open through the sides and the back. We're going to exhale, we're going to feel a little lift coming up from the legs, up into the waist, hugging and knitting the waist, growing tall through the crown of our head. Inhale, feeling an expansiveness through the sides and back of our waist, sides and back of our ribs. And then we're going to exhale, we're going to feel a nice line coming up the inside of the leg, up through the inside of the pelvis, up through the diaphragm, up through the back of the throat, and out the top of our head, as if our head is almost attached to an elastic band, and it's holding us here, and our feet are kind of just reaching to the floor from that pull. Good, feeling nice bit of tone through the thighs there and through the inside of the legs. All right, guys, I'm going to turn, face this way. You can stay where you are. Back up just a little bit. I'm going to take my little mat here, and I actually have another mat underneath, so nice and cozy. So again, laying back up. So from here, we're going to play with directing our breath to help us move into some different directions and see how that feels. So right now, I want you to take an exhale and find a center point where you feel like your body and your legs are centered right over the center of your foot, or the talus, the foot bone. Okay, and then from here, I want you to just take an inhale, lift your arms, send the breath forward, and almost like let your toes fall towards the floor. As you exhale, drop the arms and let your heels and your pelvis and your body drop back towards the floor behind you, even taking the head. And then as you inhale, directing your breath into the front body, take the arms forward as well. And then gliding back and down into the heels. Inhale into the back body. And then come back to center, to the middle. Inhale to the front body. Exhale back to center. Inhale to the back body, pulling your arms and heels back and down. And exhaling back to center. Good. Notice how you start to roll kind of forward and back on this mat. Good. You should start to feel some nice articulation through the ankles and also a little bit of instability and shakiness. It's kind of fun to just let the body figure out how to stand up. It's almost like you're just sort of standing on like a surfboard or just kind of trying to stay, I don't surf, but you know, just trying to stand up on like a paddleboard without falling. So finding that nice center of gravity, which is really like about just right below the belly button, right hand side. So just trying to figure out where your center is today. So from here, just playing with a little bit of arm movement, we're going to find a nice center point where we feel like our legs are centered right between the front and back of the hip. We're going to take our right arm up towards the sky, dropping the shoulder heavy as we lift, keeping the left arm down along our side, saluting. And then we're going to switch on the exhale. Inhale at the bottom, up the pole, and then exhale, switch. Imagine your fingertips are pressing against a rubber band. So when you reach, you push the rubber band up. When you come back and down and you scissor, you're still almost pushing against this tension that you're creating. And again, switch. Keeping your waist nice and tight, not trying to let the body fall forward, back, sideways, or any other direction. It can be quite challenging as you move through your balances. Letting go of your glutes. Letting go of your bigger muscle groups and trying to sense the stability coming right from the middle of your body, right from the waist, pulling tight. Noticing the length in your neck. Connecting the shoulders down the body. And then we're just going to pause at center, holding the arms in front of us. We're going to do a little shoulder glide. So we're going to start to draw the shoulders together and around the ribs towards the spine. Keeping the hands at chest level, you're going to take the arms forward, bringing the shoulder blades around the front of the ribs. And then you're going to exhale, keeping your head right on top of the spine, hug the abs, and draw the shoulder blades together and towards the spine. Trying to not flare the ribs as you do this. And similarly, as you take the shoulders forward and around, try not to round your back, just maintaining that nice centered neutral. Exhale, hug the waist and squeeze the shoulders around. It's like your shoulders are taking a circular motion around the rib cage. The rib cage is a three-dimensional shape. And so as you come forward and back, the shoulders protract and come forward. And then maintaining stability and strength in the core. You wrap your shoulders around the width and circularness of your ribs and come back together. One more forward and one more back. A lot of work in the core there, guys. You should feel that. And then from here, we're going to keep the shoulders sitting firmly into the side body. We're going to just start to sit back in a chair, taking the bum towards the floor, sending the arms down with us, keeping our heels heavy, and try to really just lower our bum, feeling the knees almost stretch forward. Peek down, look at your knees if you can balance there, make sure they're parallel, and release the tops of your feet so that you're not too tight in the shins there. Try to keep feeling the bottoms of your feet go, maybe letting the heels get heavy, sending the thighs heavy back here, feeling the sits bones nice and wide, belly lift. Inhale, take the arms down, and then exhale, squeeze the shoulders and take them forward. I want you to keep trying to squeeze the shoulders here as you do this, and squeeze and lift the abs so we're not losing our posture. You want to think of a neutral spine. Chin is even a little bit tucked. Shoulders together, abs in, chin tucked. We'll do 3. Try to let the tops of those feet relax. 2. And 1. I'm smiling because it's really hard. And then we're going to float up. Keep our tall posture, push down through the heels, stand up through the legs, squeeze the knee, and then we're going to let it go. Final challenge here on our little mat. Curl your feet over the barrel. Again, your toes and your heels are free of the floor. Arms are down. Tuck the chin into the chest. Make sure you're looking in. You're going to start to take your upper body and your upper chest over the heart. Start to round down here, just taking your time. Staying right over the tops of those feet. You're going to take your ribs up and over the pelvis. Keep the tail heavy and under you. Your eyes are just coming down the thighs. You're looking to make sure your knees are still parallel. They will need to get nice and soft as you make your way down. Exhale. Send some weight to your heels. Lift the belly on your next exhale. Start to stack back up, lifting slowly. Keep managing your weight, staying on your mat. Stack the tailbone under you or on top of your legs. Roll the rest of the spine up so your head's back on the ceiling. One more time. Let's start with the arms up in the air, shoulders down. Take your arms and head up and over. Eyes come into the chest. You're rounding up and over a big beach ball. So reach into the forward so this roll down. Keeping the legs strong. As you come forward and up and over your legs, there's a lot of work there to not fall. Knees are easy. Bringing your chest up and over your heart, you're rounding. Head's falling. Inhale here. Exhale. Connect the inner thighs. Tuck your tail. Start to scoop and lift the belly. Keep lifting the belly. Lift up through the upper belly. Drop the tail. As you start to stack the ribs, look forward towards the hands. Keep taking the arms up. Follow your hands with your eyes as you drop the tail. And circle the arms out and around, getting tall and centered. Great. Cool. That was fun. So I hope you enjoyed that. We're going to move into some work through the mat. So we're going to work on some pelvic and spinal articulation. So using our prop, our little mat prop today, just as something different, especially if you only have a mat to work with at home. And even if you don't have a mat, you can work with like a pillow or a blanket. You can roll it up. It's just something nice to help give you a little bit more length into your spine as you work through some of these awesome Pilates exercises. So let's do it. Okay. So the setup for the next series is going to be, your mat will still be rolled up. I'm going to start all the way over. So your mat comes down like this. Okay. And you're going to roll it, again, if you have a mat. If not, just take like a blanket or something and just make sure that you're laying on a soft floor. Again, it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work, right? So I'm going to roll my mat about halfway up so that I can lay down my body on the part that's flat. And I'm about 5'9", so I'm pretty tall, so you can go to whatever feels good. So I'm going to sit in front of my mat, in front of the rolled up part. We'll call that like the dome, kind of like the roller. And so sitting in front of the dome, I'm going to place my sitting bones. So to find your sit bones, just straighten your legs, and you do a thing called like a little hip walk. You just sort of Frankenstein walk up and down until you feel like you are almost on top of your legs, as if you're bringing your butt backwards. And that's your sit bones. It's a nice way to find it. Your knees will probably have to be bent, which is fine. So once you're there, keeping the mat pressed against your sit bones, you're going to bend your knees nice and wide, and then just start to roll towards the back of the sit bones into the mat. The back of the pelvis will be what comes over the mat, and then just roll the rest of the way through until your head hopefully lands on a soft surface on a mat or on the floor. Now, what I want you guys to do is adjust the mat or the dome of the mat so that it's sitting. I don't know if you're familiar with like spinal anatomy, a lot of us are not, but the dome is resting kind of where the top of the pelvis meets the lower part of the spine. So kind of right at the ridge of the pelvis and the spine is where you want to feel support. So your body can actually start to sink into that support, and it provides a little bit of a curvature or like a small arch in that area without forcing it. So we're just going to take a moment of breath, and I'm going to have you just rest your hands right on the pelvis, palms of the hands on the hip bones, fingertips just drawing towards the low tummy. And you're going to breathe into the hands, so feeling as you inhale, you fill up the low belly. And when the exhale happens, you feel the low belly sink, and you start to just gently curl your back and tip the pelvis back against the mat so that you're pressing into it. That's going to start to help the tailbone curl off the floor. So then the butt cheeks are almost all the way off the floor, but your low back, low belly is dropping into the actual mat. And you want to try to figure out how to make that happen. So we'll play with that. So you're going to inhale back over it, articulating the tailbone back down to the floor until you feel the butt cheeks flush on the mat. That's your inhale. The pubic bone is tilting down, hip bones are pushing towards legs. Exhale, Draw the spine, belly button to the spine. Curl the pubic bone up and in towards the navel, deepening that connection, and then you're going to feel that lower back pull against the mat. And then release it. All the way down. Exhale, roll back. Looking for almost what I keep noticing, I have to scoop because you want to kind of get the ribs down. Try to keep your ribs really flat on the mat as you roll just the pelvis over it. Inhaling into that space. Keep the bone of your head heavy on the mat and the shoulders, maybe roll them back, opening up the chest. Let's take this into a bridge. So we're going to take the arms down along our side. And if you're not enjoying, if this doesn't feel good under your like lower back, then just ditch the mat. It's just a way to give you a little bit more connection into the actual movement of the spine. But it is purely just a prop to help with feeling what the actual movement is. So we're rolling back in the pelvis. We're tipping the pelvis back so we flatten the lower back. That curls the tailbone. We're going to continue this movement. The tailbone's going to continue to curl. We're going to start to peel the spine, peel the lower back off the mat till we completely release it from the dome. And then we're going to just maybe adjust our heels so they're underneath the knees. And we're going to walk the feet till they're about an inch apart. We're going to look down, make sure our knees are parallel. From here, we're going to adjust our shoulders back on the mat. Curl the tailbone forward and up so it feels like we're really scooping out our abdominals. And we're going to roll back down, massaging our spine through the mat, so nice and slow. Ribs first, then low back, over the hump there, all the way into the tailbone, until we release at the end. Again, exhale, feel the body go back. Think about really finding the core, pressing through the feet, dropping back through every vertebrae, peel it off the mat. Might feel kind of weird at first, but the goal is you'll get some length here. So as you come up, trying to avoid the butt squeeze or the butt wink, think about simply just lengthening and scooping the tailbone just from the spine here, and then rolling it back out, all the way over. I'm going to roll my mat a little higher. It sometimes feels nice to really get that through the lower back, so maybe try and bringing it up towards the low back. Roll back, feel the low back curl against the mat, peeling the tailbone, driving the ribs heavy. Ribs drop back, tail rolls up, and then drop the ribs back, roll back down through each segment, low back, pelvis, tail, everything. Let's do two more, roll it back. Let's massage the lower back through the mat. Feels so yummy if you just allow it to happen. All the way up. You want to pause when you get to the shoulder blades, and then we just roll it back down. Pulling the front body deep into the back body and stretching over the mat. We'll hold the last one. Exhale, scoop it back. Feel that lower back pull against the dome there. Feel the legs engage. Push down through the feet. Push into the back of the heart. Hold here, and then take a moment to note the top of your pelvis. Let the glutes go a little bit, and then we're going to just play with some ankle movement. So I want you to spread out your toes and your heel. We're going to keep that scoop right here, and we're going to just simply lift the heels off the floor, pressing through the corners of your feet. Keeping your hips lifted, you're going to stretch the heels back down and up and down. Really nice to try to keep the glutes almost soft and feel the abs working, the shoulders back, the feet working, the hamstring, and just try to get out of pushing the hips up and down. Keep the hips still in space as you move through the ankle. Up, slowly lower, up, slowly lower. It's almost like you're circling the heels back and up. Slowly lower, up, slowly lower. We're stretching the front of the thighs. Last one, up, hold it up, slowly lower. Keep stretching your knees forward. Roll it all the way back down. Enjoy, friends. Roll through that low back, through the tail, spilling into the glutes. Opening the knees into diamond once your bottom falls on the floor. Breathing into the inner thighs. Big belly breath here. Exhale, feel your back fall.
Zipping the thighs. One more, opening the thighs, just letting them fall apart, just so good. Exhale, zipper. And Malaya, one more, just feeling your back really melt here, noticing your arch. So as you open the legs, your back may want to tend to arch here, so working to fall through the mat until the knees are touching. Walk your feet together, draw your abs in, curl your pelvis off the floor, so now your lower back is kind of curling into the mat. Take your hands behind your knees and try to really sink the lower rib cage or the back ribs against the mat. Tuck your chin, feel the back of the throat fall. Breathe into the back body. You're going to start rocking. I've already started, so join me. Rocking from one half of your body towards the left shoulder, through the ribs, breathing. Starting your movement through the rib cage towards the spine. Eyes are following the movement. Legs are following the movement. Rock to the other side. Everything goes. Leaning into the right side. Looking to the right. Pulling the knees in. Keeping the chest heavy. Exhale, kind of massaging. Now maybe even think about rocking through the shoulder girdle. Opening up space there. Chin is tucked, throat is heavy. Inhale, pause at center. Exhale, draw the chest heavy. Take it to the left. Big inhale to the left side. Eyes follow the knees. Exhale, center. Tuck the chin. Heavy throat. Great. Go ahead and take your legs down one at a time. From here, you're just going to roll onto your side. You'll keep your mat between the waist. So we're going to move into some side lying stuff, guys. And I want you to think about if you're going to use the dome, if it's working for you. If it's not, ditch it, no big deal. Try to keep the mat side lying right between the waist. So the space between your lowest rib and the top of the pelvis. And lay down over it. So you get a lovely little lift there. And if you're tight in your obliques or in the sides, or you feel like you sort of get short in your waist, this is a really great position to just kind of rest in. You can take a pillow under there and just breathe and watch TV just to see if you can get a little bit more length moving through there. Also helpful for digestion and things like that. So yeah, lots of wonderful things happen when we put space in the body and defy gravity, if you will. So from here, guys, I'm going to keep my side waist pretty heavy. I'm going to bend my knees in, tucking them in nice and tight towards my chest. And I'm going to start with my hand resting on my arm. And then you're going to take your top hand and just think about drawing the shoulder blade down and back. So you're almost keeping your shoulders together here, head heavy. Taking the hand down towards the floor until your shoulder height. From here, you're going to take that hand, stretch it forward, taking the shoulder blade with you, protracting it rather, and then you're going to send that arm away from your body towards the ceiling till it lines up with your shoulder. From here, you're going to start to spiral your chest and head back, letting your shoulder and ribs and head rotate back. Your head will fall off your arm. You pause about halfway. Inhale here. Exhale, keep twisting, almost massaging your body towards the back, like feeling like the lower back's coming to the mat. Your arms kind of reaching in a diagonal. This is a variation of the book opener. Inhale, feel your pelvis even start to rotate. You're just following the reach. I'm reaching towards my plant back here. Exhale, close the knees, press the shins to the floor first. Feel how the pelvis follows. As the pelvis bones stack, you're going to take your arm up and over the head, rotating through the mat. Head's going to stay right on top of that arm. Top arm's going to come forward just back to the shoulder height. Rock your body back to center, squeeze the shoulders together. We'll do that again, adjusting our t-shirt. So again, finding that place where our spine feels like it's parallel to the back of the mat. We're going to take the arm up. Imagine our collarbones stretching apart. Feeling the collarbone and chest open, we're going to follow the rotation of our hand as we fall back. We're going to let our lower back fall towards the dome of the mat. We're going to let the knees come where they need to go. We're gonna reach to the plant. But this time we're gonna vary it. We're gonna first of all look towards the hand that's reaching. Take the knees back down. Take the top foot, stretch it forward on a diagonal as if someone's pulling our hand and our foot away on a diagonal, stretching out the waist here. Breathing into the waist, filling it up on the inhale. Exhale, falling. Inhale, reach. This time as we exhale, just like a pendulum, we're going to take our arm up and overhead like we did before, but the leg is going to move in the opposite direction and do a little lift at the end. And we're just going to play with the corners of our mat. We're following our hand with our eyes. The leg is moving in the opposite direction. It's not a big kick forward and back. It's more length and more on the diagonal. Inhale, up and overhead as if we're doing little pinwheels with the arm. And the leg is simply stretching long to the opposite. Try to make sure your shoulders are not getting too hikey into the neck. You want your neck to feel good. So I'm going to actively plug my shoulder down my back. I felt my neck starting to get a little bit too excited there. And I'm just going to use my mat and start to massage more through my body, trying to see if I can't move more into my waist. And you should try that too. A couple more. Massaging the waist back as the leg swings forward. And then flip it over. Your head is just rolling. Just a roly-poly. And then we'll pause here. We'll keep the leg long. We're going to go ahead and just prop ourselves up on our hand, and we're just going to move the leg up and down. So now we're just moving into our leg work, easy breezy. Flex your foot and imagine your foot is sliding up and down a wall. Notice how my body is pretty still, like still pretty connected down into the dome of my mat. So in terms of the waist is staying stacked. My hips are staying stacked. I'm moving my leg just from here. I'm going to start to hinge my leg forward and back. So now we're going into flexion and extension of my hip. So as my leg comes forward, I flex. As my foot comes back, I extend. So the movement's right here. Stability and strength is right in the core and in the waist. My neck is long, the shoulders are happy. And I'm sort of resting towards the back of my ribs here on the mat. Here, I'm not rotating forward. So we've already done all that wonderful trunk rotation. Now we're stabilizing. Let's move into circle. So we're going to just take our foot, circle it around this imaginary wall. I say circles, but I always mean ovals. So imagine just kind of tracing the front and back corners of your mat, taking the leg just above the hip, down just below the hip and around. You can make it a little bit bigger, but just try to keep in mind that you're going to get the most out of it in terms of glute, abs, and leg toning if you stay quiet in your pelvis and in the rest of your body. Let's reverse it. Keep the foot flexed. It's really just a game of, can I keep everything really strong and tight in the waist, but open and free in the hip, strong in the leg. Pausing here, taking it to the floor, taking our body down, and then we're going to keep our head on our arm, and we're going to just straighten the bottom leg out. We're going to come up a little bit higher so our hip has a better placement onto the dome. Again, this is just a prop, you don't have to use it. But we're going to straighten the legs here. I want you to think about kind of leaning into that dome so you're really allowing everything to connect here. Take your hand on your low tummy, hover the leg to hip height and flex it. Take the bottom leg towards it and squeeze the inner thighs. Ooh, it's a challenge. Keep your chest soft, abs in, lower the leg down. So you're only bringing the bottom leg to the top leg. Let's come down a little bit more. So down. It's important that you're square, so making your adjustments. I'm doing mine as well. Squeezing leg and down. It's much easier if you're propped up, just FYI. So I'll just stay here for today. You may even need to feel like you need to tuck your tail here. The tendency is going to want to bring your top leg down, so keep your top leg lifting. Then we're going to hold and squeeze. We're going to go up and halfway down. Up, halfway down. We're looking to drop and press in through the oblique. We want to keep length and stretch through the crown of the head. Tummy to spine. If we're feeling really fancy, we can go. Again, keeping the hips really stable, or the pelvis really still. You're just moving at the abs for the side of this. Then you can play with some circles here if you're feeling super fancy. And reverse it. Again, small and stable is the name of the game. This is oblique work, guys. And then release. Take your arms up and over the head. You can split the legs, top leg back, bottom leg forward. Stretch the legs long, maybe go back into your stretch. Think about becoming like a human X and just kind of opening up to the floor. Top hand forward, bottom hand back, top leg back, bottom leg forward, and just pull. Breathing and releasing. Great. Carefully pressing ourselves up. And do that to the other side. What do you think? So before we move into the other side, I like to do a little assessment. Kind of sitting up tall, right on top of my legs. I definitely feel like I need more of that on the other side, but we're going to take our arm. That way we're on the side we were just working, so it's my right arm. Flipping that palm up, taking the other hand across to the hip, and dive. Into a side bend. Taking the other hand down, pushing myself into a little twist. If I push my left hand into my thigh and I rotate open, it feels just wonderful. And then relaxing, shoulder coming back to center, rising back up. And then why not do the other side? Just for fun, taking your hand across, lifting, bending. Before I twist, I kind of want to get my shoulders down. You want to just sort of push in the opposite leg, almost push yourself into a rotation. Breathing. Twisting back. And coming out of it. Okay, rock and roll. Let's do the other side. Truth be told, this class is a complete repeat of my 9:30. I forgot to record the entire thing. So, yeah. This is the second time I've done this class in its entirety. So, all for you guys. Happy to do it. Hope you enjoy. Yeah, and the mat thing, maybe it's kind of weird. However, in terms of props, a lot of us don't have them at home, or if you do, it's just, sometimes nice to be able to just use what we have. So the reason we're doing this is truly to create stability in the areas that, or stability or release in the areas that tend to maybe overwork or not work hard enough. So it's just kind of putting your body in the shape that we want it to be in, moving into these exercises so that you get more out of them. So, these are the things we think about as Pilates nerds. Do or don't, I don't care. I do care. I hope you try it. So again, the mat's gonna go, we've got a dome between here and here. Lowest rib, top of the pelvis. This side is actually a lot shorter on me, so I'm gonna just do the best I can. So just laying it down, and that's really where your heaviest point of your body is here. Resting your head on your arm. Knees are gonna tuck in. Tail is down. You wanna think about your back being flat, like parallel to the back of your mat. Small tuck of the tail, abs in. And then from here, we're gonna just take our arm, take it to the floor, take a minute just to settle. Breathing always helps with that. Inhale, letting the head drop. Exhale, letting the belly, side belly drop. You're kind of finding a C curve from the side, making sure you're not rotated forward or back. With the hand in front of you, you want to kind of draw the shoulder blade together against the spine. Using that squeeze of the shoulder blade, that's going to help you lift your arm to shoulder height. And then once your arm is shoulder height, you're going to just inhale and reach the arm forward, taking the shoulder blade forward away from the spine, around the ribs. And then you're going to lift it just to the ceiling. So it comes in alignment with your shoulder. Once you're there, you're going to start to spin your waist backwards. So you're just going to lean the lower back towards the mat, opening the chest, head falls back. And you start to reach on the diagonal. Keep it nice and easy. Just think about your bones, the low back, back ribs, back of the skull reaches, and then your arm stretches away in the diagonal. Keep reaching, so maybe you pull your pelvis into a twist. It's just full body. Just feel the movement of the pull. This one's pulling on your arm. And then relax the shoulder. Let the knees come down first. Rotate the pelvis, sink into the side body. Take your arm up and over the head. The head bone rolls to forward. And then you'll pause back to shoulder distance. Plug the shoulder blade in. Square off your body. Reach the shoulder forward, keeping the chest back. Lift the arm up. Pull the chest away from me. Roll backwards. Let the head fall. Keep pulling your chest open. Belly in. Reach. Let your head bone roll back. Maybe look towards your hand. Inhale. Start to lift up that arm over the head. You're pinwheeling it back into circle. All the way around. Until you feel like you're reaching. Plug that shoulder blade back in. Rotate your chest square. One more time. Drawing the shoulder blade away from the spine here. Rolling back through the lower back, mid back. Reach your arm away. Take the top leg and stretch it away on the diagonal towards the bottom front corner of your mat. Attach your hand to that left foot, so feeling that nice diagonal line. This side is much more rotated for me, so it takes me a minute. So just connecting the shoulder down the ribs, and maybe connecting the side body muscles, and almost squeezing a little bit into that lat if you're having trouble. I'm gonna take my bottom one here. All right, so from here, just think of like a pendulum. You're gonna roll through the waist, taking your upper body forward, reaching into the front corner of your mat, foot draws back. And then rolling through the skin of the waist, you're gonna just go to the opposite direction. Try to keep your arm in alignment with your ear. So when you come forward, you take everything with, and your leg just shoots back in opposition. You're rolling through the mat, massaging the tissues of your lateral line, so just massaging the side of the waist. It's almost easier if you just think about giving your waist a massage. Really nice for detox, digestion. Again, just making space. Taking tension out of the belly, out of the side of the belly. That's sort of where we run into issues, right? We get a little bit too tight in our sides and a little bit too lazy in the front, right? I mean, I'm sure you guys think about these things all the time too. Just remember, this is class 2 of. Okay, release work is so good. So let's just do 1 or 2 more. Just kind of blowing in the wind here. Or just kind of channeling your inner walrus, just walrusing about on the beach in the sand, connecting to the floor, letting gravity take over. And then we're going to keep the leg up, cross the arm up, and we're going to just start to move the leg up and down, flexing the heel. Guys, that's nice. So here we're going to get our hands on our tummy, and we're going to just make sure we're nice and square. Again, I have a little nice scoliosis, so that involves a lot of rotation. So for you to keep yourself square, you want to keep your chest back. Use your hands and try to really line up your pelvis so the hip bone or the pelvic bones are stacked one on top of the other. The abs are in the front, and you're nice and kind of tight in the waist so that the bottom waist is staying connected to the mat. Really challenging as the leg comes down to keep everything glued here. So that's where the exhale needs to come in for me at least. You can lay the head down. Let's move it into circles. Again, it's really challenging. If this is your special side, if this is like maybe your tighter side or your weaker side, or just, there's some disorganization, just really tying up the loose ends through the waist, gathering the hips staying stacked. Imagining your foot sliding around the wall. And the more I use the mat, the less I start to feel like I'm pushing to my kind of bony thigh bone there. Sometimes it can be a little bit of pressure on the mat, so the more you can find that drive there. I don't know if we reversed it, but let's go ahead and do that now. Making sure your pelvis is behind your ribs. I think I was a little bit in front. I feel like after this virtual reality season, you'll all really get to experience your asymmetries, and you'll get to see mine. It's my left side. Hello. All right, we're gonna move into kicks. Just take the leg forward and back. Forward and back. Again, tying up the abs so as the leg draws back, working through the core to find that squeeze behind you. It's a big stretch with the hip flexor if that's where your problem is. And it's a nice engagement for the glute. Trying to find that connection. Flex the heel, draw back. And then we'll hold here. And then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to do our lifts. So again, sinking into the waist, we're going to lift the leg up and down. Holding the leg that's lifted. So maybe even pushing it against your hand is kind of helpful. Whatever works. Just keeping it still. Up, down, try to flex your feet here. Again, if you have any bursitis or any hip issues in the leg that you're lifting, just keep patting it. See if you can get there. Or you can try this standing. And then we'll hold the legs together. We're going to lift them up a little bit and down and up and down and up and down. A lot of oblique here, guys. If you take the hand behind the head, even more challenging. Squeeze and down. Squeeze your elbows in your peripheral. If your hands are up, squeeze and down. Hug and down. For 3, 2, whoop, 1. Hold. A little higher. Challenge it. Lengthen your bottom side, lengthen it, and oh, good job. Great job. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Go ahead and roll on your tummy. You're gonna place the little dome right under your hip bones. If that's not comfortable for you, then you don't have to. Then if you're a man, just kind of keep it a little higher so you're keeping it right under the bony protrusions of your pelvis. It's not so much your hip, it's these bones right here. So from there, I want you to just go ahead and lay down. The belly is in front of the dome, the hip bones are on top. And I want you to just rest your head on your hands. Give me a little tuck of your tail so you feel like you're almost pressing the hip creases into the, we'll call it the dome. And then breathing just into the mat. So the inhale, the belly falls and expands. Pushing the back and front body away from the spine and out to the side. The exhale, draw the belly in, pressing the legs into the floor, even the tops of the feet. So the inhale, belly falls. We release the glutes. We release the weight of the legs. We exhale, we think about the belly button coming off the floor and into the spine. So the belly skin comes up and off. Inhale, release. Exhale, low belly lifts. On the next exhale, lift up your left leg just to a hover. Keep the hip bones down and even. And start to stretch it out. You can take your head on the mat and place your hands like right on top of the butt cheeks, right below the sacrum. And I want you to just maybe hold that there and just start to draw small circles with that left thigh. They're long circles. And I want you to just think about more feeling what's happening in the front of the pelvis. The circle starts where the thigh meets the hip. So you're really driving the top of that thigh towards the mat. And the padding should help you feel that. Keep your belly lifted and in so you're not arching the back. Let's reverse it, taking it in, out, and around. Little butt squeeze going on there, right? Think about your tail staying tucked, your belly lifted, you're nice and long. And then you're gonna hold and lower, right at center, good. Tuck your tail, make sure that you didn't overarch the back. You wanna keep that length happening through the lower back and the lift of the belly. Okay, I'm gonna turn my cheek to the other side. We're gonna switch legs, drawing the legs nice and narrow, keep lifting your belly. I'm gonna take my hands back here again to make sure I'm nice and long. Scooping the belly in, we're gonna lengthen the leg to lift it. Feel the inner thigh will spiral in and up. Reach that leg long. Make sure both hip bones are pressing into the floor. Belly in. We're gonna start the thigh circles. It starts right from here. They're small. Think about the inner thigh coming in and up towards the glute. And around. Crossing the other leg, up and around. Length is happening. Abs are lifted. Reverse it. Notice I'm not going very high, it's very minimal. It's more about everything staying plugged where it should stay plugged. And what is really strengthening is the muscles right here that lift your butt. And the core, of course. And then we're going to pause. We're going to take our hands underneath our forehead. We're going to keep our chest nice and flush to the floor, abs in. We're going to take our left leg lifted. We're going to lower it. Right leg, we're going to lengthen to lift it without arching the lower back. Keep the lower back nice and long, so tucking the tail. And we're just going to start to flutter kick the legs, balancing on the hip bones. If we're feeling good here, we're going to take our arms away, palms down, and we're going to do opposite arm, opposite leg. We're going to start to swim. Keep your head on the mat. Opposite. Hip bones on the mat, head on the mat. Shoulder blades are plugging towards the butt cheeks. Belly's in. Plugging the arms and the legs into the body. Legs into the abs, arms into the back. Really working to keep length in the neck. You can hover your head here only an inch or two. Think more reach and length. Good. Long neck. You can speed it up a little bit. Long neck. Long legs, strong core. Chest is heavy. Head is lifted. We'll do 3, 2, 1, down. Push yourself into child's pose. Walk your knees to your dome. All about the dome today. Let the tail fall down towards your heels. Stretch those arms out and breathe. Send yourself back into all fours. Knees on the dome. Yes, this is a good series. All right, so from here you want to think about flexing your toes down on the floor. We're going to play with a little planking press. If you have wrist issues, feel free to come onto your fist. But if you feel okay, sometimes with the wrist, it's just a matter of positioning. If you take your palms and you keep them like the knuckles of your palms really pressing through the floor, keep a little bend in your elbow and just kind of turn the elbows and pull them out. And think about pulling up through kind of the upper arms, so really lifting here. And using the toes as well to help you. So shift your weight forward and back a little bit just to kind of get that idea of lifting out of the wrists so you're not dumping weight in there. Lift the belly. We're going to play with a cat-cow. So go ahead and come to a center point where you feel right in between your knees and your hands. And you're going to just start to inhale round the back, starting with the tailbone. Low back, mid back, upper back lifts, head drops. Exhale, release. Chest comes forward, tail comes back. Lift your eyes, lift your chest. Inhale, curl. Keep your chest right in front of your hands. Exhale, pull your chest forward, lifting out the wrist. Trying not to dump down, really pushing away. Inhale, curl. Exhale, when you stretch, lift up your chest, lift up your butt. Don't sink into the mat, push away. And then draw the shoulders down, find neutral. So a neutral is going to be a place where you're really lifted, kind of pushing to the base of your palms. If it helps, sending your butt a little bit more towards your feet, strong core. Imagine taking a foam roller or like a dowel or a stick, and I'm resting it from your head down your spine toward your tailbone, and you would not drop it. It's almost squeezing the shoulders together and lifting up the ribs. Okay, so from here, excuse me. Okay, so from here, we're going to move into a little oppositional reach. So keeping everything nice and lifted, we're going to take our left leg strong on the mat, flexing the toes. Keep your hips really level to the mat, so you're going to rotate your pelvis so that the hips are square. Take your right arm up, you're going to keep it in alignment with your ear, draw the shoulder down. Hover the left leg to the height of your arm so you're straight. Think about bringing your leg and your arm towards the midline, pressing into the mat with your toes and your hand and lifting up and breathing. For 10, 9, squaring the pelvis, 8, opening the chest, lifting the thighs, keep the chin tucked, 7, 6, 5, reaching, 4, 3, 2, 1, Put everything away without shifting your body weight. We're gonna go right to the other side. Squeeze the leg long, take the arm away. Again, you wanna make sure your hand and your toes, or your palm and your toes are strong. Lift up, center out your body weight. Make sure your chest is square to the floor as well as your hips. Hover the leg, reach. Shoulder down, plugging in the leg to the abs, straight line. For 10, 9, 8, 7, keep plugging the bones into the body. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Great job. Last thing today, guys, you're gonna do your hovers. So go ahead and sit back, shake out your wrists. We'll go ahead and come back to our hands and knees. Again, if you're getting tired in the wrist, you can always come down to here or here. So whatever works for you. So again, making sure you're right over your wrists with your chest. Eyes are slightly in front of you. Chin is tucked, shoulders back, chest open. Toes wide, knees hip distance. We are only going to take our neutral spine, imagine resting that foam roller behind your body. We're going to push down to the toes, hover up and hold. Keep lifting the head, ribs, and pelvis. And release. Whole body comes down. Whole body presses up. It's about 2 inches. And then it all comes down. It's wide and open. Again, up and hover. And down. It's almost like you're protracting and retracting the shoulder blades, or it is like that. So when you push up, you open and reach the shoulder blades forward and around. And when you come down, the shoulder blades come back together as the knees fall. Pushing the shoulder blades apart, lifting up the body, and for 3, neck is long, and down. 2, and down. And 1, and down. And sit, and roll over. So you can take your hands and just kind of do that. It's a nice way to just kind of stretch everything there. Child's pose, we're going to just sway side to side. We're going to stack it all the way back up. We're going to unroll that mat. Hopefully we can do that again. I thought that was kind of fun after doing it twice, but you know, I'm sure you'll give me some great feedback there. Okay. All right, so just kind of sitting up tall, assessing how we feel. I know that's quite a bit of on the wrists, but that's okay. Just strengthen our shoulders. All right, guys, so just kind of rock and sway side to side through the ribs. And then just start to circle your ribs around the pelvis. Just feeling a little bit of movement there, taking the chest forward, falling back, and around. And then we'll reverse it, just kind of really tuning into our spirals here, keeping your head on the ceiling. Where you're restricted when you fall back, can really drop back away from your body. And then go ahead and bring your wrists right on top and just think of little pelvic circles here on the mat. Tiny, just kind of pushing from one sits bone to the other. Just circling, almost like hula hooping. And then maybe integrating the ribs in a little figure 8 here. This is a prenatal series I learned that I love, so just kind of feeling like you're planning with the pelvis and the ribs doing little figure 8s on top of each other. Why not? If not, you can just do some cat and cows here, that's fine too. Okay. Roll the head. Ear to shoulder, down through the neck. Ear to other shoulder, maybe take it back and around. Ear to shoulder, chin to chest. Here to opposite shoulder, back and around. We'll reverse it on the next one. So from the chin to the chest, we take it around, head back, here to shoulder, drop the eyes, come back down, and around, and back, and down. Let's just roll it all the way down, chest over the heart, and then scoop it all the way back up. Great. Thanks for playing. I so appreciate you guys doing this with me, and hopefully we can be together soon. Okay. Feedback, questions, all that is welcome. I appreciate anything. You guys can give me any requests for classes, any suggestions you have in terms of like video quality. Just keep communicating and we'll get them better for you. Hopefully in the next month or so we can get going back in the studio. All right. Thank you. Bye.